Niggas always claim to set blood ain't from the hood. Hell no. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Oh, I live in the hood, ass nigga. Never got put on, always claiming the hood though. Oh, you fucking with the homegirl, but don't come to the hood with none of your damn homeboys. They don't get a pass. Had the little homies press they ass, where your tattoos? Hey, your mama waking up to some bad news. The plug saying groove, I'm a dime. I was long in the race, skinny nigga with the braid. Took a 2-man fade, I'm really from the hood. I took a fucking break to get my money right, but I was banging on the plane in the meeting with Jermaine. They like, poet, oh you bang? They forgot where I came from. I was gang banging when it wasn't fun. Homie doing life right now, cause we don't
You ain't from the hood.
Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. So you ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to set blood ain't from the hood. Hell no. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. And that goes for these hoes too. Start fucking on niggas and throwing these niggas hood up. Ha, little dot dot. Heard you gave a homie head in the trap spot. Got a throwaway in the stash spot. Boy, you not real, like a Sasquatch. Boy, I'm so high, I'm seeing astronauts. Boy, I ball hard, I need a mascot. Oh, and Swahili, I'm a damu. My little cousin making paru. My nigga Uzi, he from Fire Deuce. Pad blows, I be hanging with some real whoops. Gang signs out the window when we drive coupes. Making money with some crips like it's 92. Banging on tracks, banging on tracks. Back in my days, it was banging on.
You ain't from the hood.
Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. So, you ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to set blood ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood.
Fuck Chris Brown, nigga. Pull up in the hood right now, nigga. Catch a fade, nigga. Fuck, nigga. Frogs.
You ain't from the hood.
Holla so the blood starts swirling. Fuck you talking about, nigga. We out here, nigga, right now. We out here right now, nigga. Real power rules, nigga. Real power rules, nigga. Fuck
What up
y'all
with
niggas
that?
talking about.
Am I on?
Fuck a soldier boy trying to do the
Where
petite
am I?
80,000 on
Am
my
I
wrist
on?
and
Am I on? What up with it up in the building? Hopefully I'm on. Let me see if I'm on this damn thing. Let me see if I'm on. I better be on. I better be on. Where am I? My phone in my pocket. What's up with it in the chat? I'm late because I accidentally put the speaker in wrong. I put the speaker in late. I put the speaker. Hold on. Am I on? Oh, I am on. Whoa. What's up with it? I have decided to do this show. First of all, I'm going to have to get a survey from the people because I have a lot of people who want me to do a show at a certain time. So at the end of this show, I'm going to put up in the chat, you know what I'm saying, up in on the link, what time. You got to put Pacific time, my time, you know what I'm saying, not your time, right? I'm going to put some times on there and you click or you put what best time you want Pacific time for me to do a show. I'll probably do one Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on a set time, and then I'll probably do skits Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And on the Sabbath, I rest. Huh? So once I'm finished with this show, I'm gonna put my link up, and then if you wanna put your 2 cents in, tell me what time every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, possibly, you want me to do a show. Right, and then I do the skits in between. Okay, now let's get it on. I done dug up some shit. You know, my mind works crazy. I don't know how my mind works sometimes when I be coming up with these skits and coming up with these ideas. I'm like, this is a good ass idea. And I got to wondering, right? Because I remember, right, gun rights is the main reason why black people have freedom. Right? Black gun rights, the Second Amendment, is one of the main, fuck all that voting rights, right? Fuck all that Jim Crow and all of those. The Second Amendment right was probably one of the single most important thing, right? When black people got their freedom, one of the single most important things, because if it wasn't for your Second Amendment right, you wouldn't be able to defend yourself throughout any periods of time, right? Throughout slavery, throughout Jim Crow, throughout the Reconstruction, throughout the racism in the South and the Martin Luther King when they were sticking dogs on niggas and shit, right? So you wouldn't have been able to defend yourself, right? If it wasn't for your Second Amendment right? Now, the Democrats twist this and try to use this as a tool against conservatives, right? And about extremists. But all this is about control. Every country that got gun rights, right, have been murdered and lynched and controlled and put in poverty and enslaved and all those shit, right? So Black America, if you listening, this video is for you. It walks us through slavery. It walks us through gun rights right now. It walks us through the Second Amendment. It walks us through gun rights legislations. All that, right? Once a time, black people had an insurrection, but it wasn't reported. It was reported back in the days, but but not now. Let's get into it. Gun rights and the Second Amendment for niggas. Niggas 101. Oh, wait a minute. I got gun rights for niggas. Niggas crash course 101. 101. Niggas crash course 101 in this bitch. Wait up.
1600.
Wait up. I got to give a shout out to donation. I just saw the button line. Who sent me a donation? Oh, James Touche and Vanessa. I got you, James Touche, Vanessa. I got people giving y'all shots out with Beth Roberts, on the street. They were like, oh, thank you for the t-shirt, Vanessa. Oh, thank you for the t-shirt, James Touche. Oh, thank you for the t-shirt, Beth Roberts. Oh, thank you for the t-shirt, Vanessa. I got y'all in the skit coming up tomorrow. I got to get about 2 more people on the video, and then I'm set. I'm set, It was supposed to be tonight, but I didn't know if I wanted to do that or abortion rights. But I came up with this skit in between. I came up with this skit today. You're going to love it, Vanessa. What James who say? Democrats started gun control to keep guns out of the hands of black people. I'm finna prove that tonight, James Touche. You ahead of time. James Touche, would you watching me make this video, James? Would you in my mind, James, watching me make this video? Who Vanessa say, thank you for founding fathers. Yes, patriots. Ooh, founding fathers. The founding father. Let's get into it.
As early as the 1600s, colonies in the States were passing laws that prohibited African Americans from possessing arms.
When we look at what was happening at that time, you had slavery in America.
You had Democrats that okayed slavery. You had Democrats that went to war over slavery, right? So remember, this is Democrats that was entrapping black people and wanted the guns out of the hands of black folks, not the Republicans.
And you had the enslaved refusing to be subjugated. And so
how can you refuse to be subjugated if you don't have no equalizer? Huh? When slavery ended, black people was free, but if you didn't have no weapons, how can you not be subjugated? How can you not defend yourself? Some niggas back in the days wasn't taking that bullshit. I'm going to defend myself at all costs.
It was the constant fear of revolts, the constant fear of uprising.
But then the Second Amendment came along in 1791. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Many Americans interpreted this to mean that they, as individuals, had the right to carry guns.
Including black people back then. Because once you freed me and I became an American citizen, that included me. But remember, the Democrats wanted to strip the rights of a black man with the Jim Crow. You are 1/3 of a man. And if you can't pass these little tests, you can't get a gun. Remember, how they trying to, right now they trying to say, well, you need to pass a background check and do all this old stuff so you can be worthy of having a gun. You know what I'm saying? We need to red flag you and all this old stuff so you can be worthy of having a gun. The same thing they done back in the days with the Jim Crow law. We gonna flag you and see you worthy to have a gun.
Meaning every individual, right? wrong.
In the early years of our country, many colonies and states had laws barring Native Americans and free black people from buying or owning guns.
Huh? Free black people and free Indians, whatever, right? Native Americans, right? Because they were slaves, right? And all that Jim Crow law shit with the voting rights, it also applied to gun rights. The Democrats don't talk about that. Gun rights. Because it was applied to keep black men enslaved because they didn't want the black man to defend themselves. Take away their guns.
What? But I have a receipt.
On May 2nd, 1967, 24 men and 6 women marched into the California State Capitol building in Sacramento.
And they was ready for a revolution. Look at them guns. They was ready for a revolution. Let's walk up in here with these guns. Let's walk up here. We ready for a revolution. Huh?
They were carrying pistols, shotguns, and rifles.
Whoa! They didn't carry all of that on the date. They had bear spray, gates, and billy clubs, and some other shit. They didn't even have all them guns after the date. Huh? They walked up in there with guns, blazing. Look, we walking up in the state capitol with guns. Who want to take our gun? We got Second Amendment rights.
You have this history well before the Civil War of organized black self-defense in northern communities.
Black self-defense. What they defend themselves with? Guns. Huh? Against who? Democrats. It wasn't Republican killing niggas. Remember, niggas was Republicans back then, right? It was the Ku Klux Klan killing niggas with guns. So how you get them niggas off your porch burning crosses and shit? With a gun. Huh? We done saw plenty of movies where black superheroes back in the slave days had guns out the window, shooting at the slave master and all that old shit, huh? Shooting at the KKK. Huh? You saw Mississippi burning? Black people always had the right to defend themselves way back then. They don't tell you about your history, do they, black people? This is your history. Second Amendment right is your history, black people.
Where black people were free. In the post-Civil War period, the late 19th and early 20th century.
But this was not a SWAT team or a security force, at least not a government one.
That walked into the Capitol building of California with guns. That wasn't a SWAT team. It wasn't no government-funded police and nothing like that. It was regular people.
In fact, this heavily armed group was more of a well-regulated militia.
A militia. You know what a militia is, right? Under the Constitution, right? If the government is tripping, you're able to form a militia. Right under the Second Amendment. And that militia has the right to bear arms. Because what else you going to fight the government with? Right? I can't say that on YouTube, right? But what else you going to take on the government with? Huh? Posters? A pepper spray? What you going to take on? Flags? A damn horn head? A swastika? What you going to take on? A Confederate flag? What you going to take on? A taser? You don't take on no insurrection with that. You bring guns to the party.
That fear was so palpable that you had a series of laws being put in place in colonial America.
Because they didn't want niggas to have guns. They didn't want niggas to defend themselves. They want to enslave niggas. And how you enslave people? You take away their guns.
That denied black people the access to arms, the access to weapons.
Huh? That's what the Jim Crow laws done. Huh? The Democrats done it to you black people. They take away these niggas' guns so they can't defend yourself. You think some of them niggas would have got hung if they had a right to bear arms? They would have shot a couple of people at first. Most of the people that was overtook and hung got a gun drew on them first. Huh? They had no rights to bear arms. They was prisoners of society. Huh, nigga, we outnumbered. We got 5 guns and you got 2 fists. What you gonna do? Huh, run if you want to. You can't run fast as this bullet. And you can't beat up all these guns. We finna hang your ass. What if it was like, hold on, somebody sent me a donation. Who sent me a donation? DS111. Make America right again. You damn right, DS111. DS111. DS-111? Huh? Make America right again. Because this shit is wrong. We got to bring back Trump. But black history and Second Amendment rights run hand in hand because they didn't want you to bear arms. We had to fight the bear arms. They didn't want to give it to us. You know why? Because they knew they couldn't enslave us if we had the right to bear arms. You can't enslave no niggas if they got guns. You wait a minute. You gonna allow me to have a gun and you gonna tell me what to do and you gonna hit me with a whip? Nigga, please. Laka. Nigga, you better put that whip up. Huh, DS-111? Better put that whip up. I'm a black person. I got Second Amendment rights. But under the law with the Jim Crow, you didn't have no Second Amendment rights.
You have state officials who basically are in league with groups like the Ku Klux Klan. I think that situation is mitigated to some extent by the fact that black people in the South, in fact, are armed and are able to defend themselves.
Huh? Right now, you're armed. Black people are armed and able to defend themselves. So it kind of even out, right, the racial tension. Imagine if black people wasn't armed in the South. And you have a bunch of rednecks running the South looking for niggas to hang and do racist shit to. It'll be ugly. Take away black people guns if you want, huh? Black people, you better wake up. Second Amendment rights, right? And black history go hand in hand.
And they'd come to the Capitol that day to try to stop the legislature and the state's Republican governor.
Wait a minute, is that Joe Barron? Ha! Joe Barron right next. What's up, Joe Barron? I saw Joe Barron in a minute. Joe Barron, my longtime partner. Joe Barron used to send me all kind of crazy I can't tell you the shit Joe Barron used to send me. Joe Barron, my partner right there. What's up, Sergeant Mo? Now I see Sergeant Mo, the nigga press secretary, the NPS is in the house. What's up, Sergeant Mo? Sergeant Mo told me to hit him if it's a show. Sergeant Mo know about this Second Amendment rights shit, huh? Sergeant Mo got his Second Amendment rights well taken care of. Believe that. So he know everything about this video. It's an equalizer, huh? Second Amendment rights is an equalizer for black folks against racism, against police brutality, against all that shit, huh? Against your government. It's an equalizer, nigga.
From passing a law that would strip them of their ability to openly carry their weapons as they patrolled the streets of their neighborhoods in an effort to keep people safe.
Whoa, in an effort to keep people safe, right? They patrolled their neighborhood.
Absolutely no reason why out on the street today civilians should...
There's absolutely no reason on the streets today civilians should carry guns. There's absolutely no reason today a civilian should be carrying a damn gun. Huh? This is in California. There's no reason a civilian should be carrying a gun on the streets of California. What?
Be carrying a loaded weapon.
And it got so intense that during the War of Independence, South Carolina was beseeched upon to arm the enslaved because there weren't enough white men to fend off the British.
Huh? It wasn't enough. They rather, look. You got Ronald Reagan saying people shouldn't be carrying guns in the street. Ain't that what the Democrats talking about right now? Right? You shouldn't be carrying a loaded weapon in the street. Huh? Right now, black people's Second Amendment rights, according to black people, is one of the most important rights that we have as black men. That Black Lives Matter protest, you think them niggas out there arming themselves and protecting the Black Lives Matter with slingshots? Huh? You think the No Fuck Around coalition out there with 22s and 38s? Huh? No, they got AR-15s. They got the shit you trying to ban. All the shit you were trying to ban is the same weapons the Black Lives Matter people was having at all them damn protests, protecting their community, walking around their community. The same guns you trying to ban, the assault weapons. It wasn't assault weapons when they was patrolling the hood with their guns. Every video you saw, you see a nigga with a do-rag on and a mask on with an AR-15. They was passing out some of it. One Black Lives Matter passing out AR-15. Huh, you get one and you get one. Huh, you can get one. Didn't know. It wasn't no gun control then. It wasn't taking over Second Amendment rights away then. Plenty of murders with them same guns in the summer of love. Nobody talked about gun rights. Huh? Police officers shot. Nobody talking about gun rights. Kids shot in the protest. Nobody talking about gun rights. Nobody even talking about the killers. We still don't know who done the shooting and the killing and the dealing. But now they can blame it on conservatives. Oh, it's gun rights. But the summer of love, I didn't hear nothing about no gun rights. I saw plenty of niggas with weapons of mass destruction. I saw plenty of niggas with weapons, assault weapons. What's that? Joe Barron again. What's up, Joe Barron? Joe Barron back in the building.
Having been emancipated after the Civil War, Southern states passed laws known as Black Codes in 1865 and 1866. Among other things, those laws disarmed former slaves in order to sustain white control.
Huh? They disarmed former slaves for white what? White control. What the Democrats want to do? Control. But it's not about control about slavery. It's control about conservatives. They know they can control the conservatives. They get all their guns and weapons. It would be no more protest. It would be no more rebel, huh? Give us the guns and we do what the fuck we want. That's why they're trying so hard on the date, right? Because they try so hard on the date. They say, oh, we want to try hard on the date so we make sure this shit won't happen again. So we want to put all this shit in again. In the Constitution, that type of shit was supposed to happen on the date. I hope that YouTube didn't pick that up. I didn't say no date. I didn't say no specific date. I just said the date.
South Carolina refused. They were horrified that they would be asked to arm the enslaved. They would rather take their chances with the British.
They would rather fight the enemy and die than give niggas guns. Think about this, black people. This is what Democrats done to you. They would rather die than to give you niggas guns. Like, hold on. We're going to slave you, whip the shit out of you, beat the fuck out of you, rape your wife, and sell your kids, and you want us to give you a gun? Hell no. We know there's a lot of you Nate Turner wannabes out there. We not giving you niggas no guns. I don't give a fuck if we is fighting the Brits. We don't give a fuck. We not giving you niggas no guns. Huh? They have to fight to get the right to get guns to go to war to fight for the country. Black people. Huh? We have to fight for our Second Amendment right to go to the war to fight for freedom. Second Amendment right and black history run hand in hand.
Then actually arm those whom they held captive.
In fact, African Americans were already at a disadvantage. They lost their right to vote in many states because of poll taxes and literacy tests. Exploiting many people's inabilities to read and write, states could further impose gun restrictions.
You can't read or write? Your ass can't have a gun. The same thing, red flag laws is the new Jim Crow laws. Black codes, black codes and red flag laws. Ain't that a bitch? Black flag. Is it raid? Huh? Black flags. Oh, Joe Barron. Keep on sending our nickel donations. Joe Barron back in the building. He up in his ante. Joe Barron must be making up for past times. She ain't send me no crazy contraptions in the damn mail. I'd be like, let me tell you something about Joe. Used to send me some shit in the mail. I'd be like, what the fuck? He like, man, you go into a club and you just do this and fool the shit out of everyone. Like, I'm not going to do that, Joe. Get my ass arrested or get my ass kicked at a black club, Joe. Because in these black clubs out here, Joe Barron, they got Second Amendment rights, right? They don't always, right? They don't always right here you can have one, but it got to be in your trunk. It got to be in your car. You can't have your clip in and shit. You can carry it, but it got to be off of your body. If you carry on your body, it's a different story. You can't carry your body in California. But I don't get into that why you can't carry it, Joe, and why niggas will shoot you with a firearm. You know what I'm saying? Let me get into that. I get into that.
And racist fears of black people have continued to inform our gun control laws.
And that fear of black people, that fear of retribution courses through into the debates in the founding of the Constitution and in the debates in the ratification of the Constitution.
The ratification of the Constitution. Remember that word, the ratification of the Constitution. They ratificated the Constitution so niggas couldn't have guns. Black people, wake up! The Democrats, they're doing it to you. They're using the conservative, but they want to do it to you. It's the same thing, right? But I'm guessing the Democrats learned from the slavery days on how to get guns out of people's hands and stuff. So they're using the same thing as slavery. They're doing it to conservatives right now, huh? Y'all the new slaves with the guns. Conservatives is the new slaves with the guns. I ain't got one. That's why I said y'all. I'm conservative, but damn it, I can't get one. They say I'm not responsible, but they'll give it to a motherfucker go shoot up a elementary. But I'm not responsible. Ain't that a bitch? I'm not able to defend myself, huh? I don't have no Second Amendment right. You see how the white man stripped my Second Amendment right of black folks and your Second Amendment right black folks for a mistake? Now you can't defend yourself legally. You had a loss. One mistake in your whole life, no matter how righteous you turn your life or what good you do in your life, you can never get your Second Amendment right back. So that means you can never legally defend yourself. Ain't that a bitch? They're trying to make it like that all over the place. You can't legally defend yourself.
That to ratify the Constitution of the United States, that there were objections made by Patrick Henry and George Mason in particular, that Article 1, Section 8 gave the federal government the power to control to what extent the state militias were armed. And their concern was that Virginia's state militia was one of the principal tools used to, that it had a component which was the slave patrols, one of the tools that was used to put down slave rebellions.
Right? The militia was formed, right, in Virginia. You know what militia they was having, right? But this was part of the Constitution. You were able to form a militia, right, in case somebody tried to overthrow the government, right? But it was really for also, right, if slaves tried to overthrow the government. So we need the militia up in here, you know what I'm saying, that we can form that'll take out the slaves if they was to form a militia to take out the government, right? So if anybody tried to take out, but it backfired, right? When black people got their Second Amendment rights, they also have the power to form a militia too. Aha! You see how that works?
Now fast forward a century to the 1960s. That's when the leaders of the civil rights movement made clear that the need for self-defense still existed. In fact, Martin Luther King Jr. applied for a permit to carry a weapon and was denied.
Now you mean to tell me Martin Luther King couldn't pass a background check? The Honorable Martin Luther King, you will overcome. I have a dream, right? You mean to tell me he couldn't get a gun to protect himself? That's why he was out there getting hit in the head with bricks and all that old shit because, and talking about we will overcome because he couldn't have a gun. I'm pretty sure Martin would have shot a motherfucker. Soon as he came, look, he came out the motel room and shot. If the nigga would have knew he had a gun, Martin Luther could have probably shot back like, oh, somebody busted. Martin Luther King would have been like on Friday or one of them nigga movies shooting on the side and shit. Pow, pow, pow. Huh? But the nigga knew Martin Luther King wasn't strapped. Like, this nigga ain't even strapped. This nigga can't carry no gun. If Martin Luther King had a strap, it would have been a few niggas off. And he would have had a right to. So he was like, we will overcome. Pow. Oh, pow. Martin Luther King is a bust on somebody. For what? The nigga hit me in the head with a brick. I can't overcome that shit. We will. Pow, pow, pow. Huh? Martin couldn't get a damn gun permit? That's fucked up. Imagine how many other people like Martin Luther King couldn't be able to get a gun permit with the red flag law. Hell no, you crazy. You a conservative. Your ass can't get a gun. We don't like your views. Huh? The same thing with the black codes they're doing with the fucking gun laws right now. Red flag.
So there's a tremendous push in the 1950s and 1960s for black voter registration.
We've got to make sure that they are reached and get into the city to do the voting.
And we know when black people tried to register to vote, we all know what happened to that experiment, right? The KKK or the Democrats didn't want that shit. The Democrats didn't want that shit, so what they do?
The Ku Klux Klan basically decides that, they are going to go after the people who are registering black voters, intimidate them, and kill them.
They put trumped-up charges of conspiracy and felonies on everyone who went in to exercise a constitutional right.
Right, these are people who went into the federal building that exercised a constitutional right. Right, they put some. Do that sound familiar? Do this sound familiar right here? Tell me, do this sound familiar? Tell me. Tell me, do this sound familiar, y'all? If I'm dying, I'm lying. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Do this sound? They put trumped-up charges of conspiracy and felonies. Do that sound like somebody going into a building, another building? Huh? I don't want to talk about.
Trumped-up charges of conspiracy and felonies on everyone who went in to exercise a constitutional right and said they had no right to bear arms in a public place. The California Penal Code Section 12020 through 12027 and also the Second Amendment of the Constitution guarantees the citizen a right to bear arms on public property.
Public property. Public property. A right to bear arms on public property. That was a California law, right? Until niggas went up in the Capitol building, right? But it's the same thing. They don't want to give you your rights. Back in the days, they didn't want to give you your rights, right? In the slavery days, back in the 60s, and nowadays, neither. They don't want to give you your rights, black folks, because they're not only taking conservative rights away, they're also taking yours.
Particularly in Virginia, where the Constitution had language in there that the militia would be under federal control.
Now, it may come as a surprise to some of you, given today's discourse on guns, that the National Rifle Association and the Republican governor of California, Ronald Reagan, came out passionately in an effort to strip this militia's right to carry arms.
We can't have people up in there carrying arms, right? We can't have a militia formed against the government, right? Remember, this is a militia that went into the Capitol building, right? Won their gun rights and stuff, and fighting for their gun rights. A militia that, under the Second Amendment right, can be formed for fight for their right if the government trying to overreach. I'm just quoting what the history book says. I'm just quoting what the Second Amendment says.
And that bill was signed by then California Governor and NRA member Ronald Reagan.
I'm just not comfortable with certain people carrying guns.
So you have groups beginning to be formed designed to protect the black community. And
what they going to protect the black community with? Baseball bats? Back in the 60s, wasn't nobody protecting the black community with no damn signs. They had guns.
Protect civil rights workers who are registering black voters.
But I would think that some of the bills that have been suggested, such as not carrying a loaded weapon on a city street or in town, this might certainly be
the most.
You can't carry a gun on a city street. That's what Ronald Reagan was pushing. You can't carry a gun on the city street. That was aimed towards black folks.
Effective of these, I would argue, was a group called the Deacons for Defense and Justice.
Why was Ronald Reagan so up in arms? After all, California was an open carry state. These Americans were exercising their God-given Second Amendment rights. So what was the problem?
The Deacons for Defense and Justice were basically black men who had been veterans of the Second World War or the Korean War.
Why was Ronald Reagan so up in arms?
Right, so you have an entity of black men that was from the group of the deacons or whatever, right? That was ex-soldiers, ex-Marine and stuff like that, right? That came together, right, as a militia to protect their community, which is protected in the Second Amendment right. Think about this, black folks. We have a history of Second Amendment rights. We have a history, right, when some of them massacres happened back in the days, right? It was only because black people was outnumbered, because a lot of black people didn't have that Second Amendment right? But if you look at the history, it was a lot of black people when the white people went to the jail. It was a lot of black people with guns, right? That's how, what's that famous, I can't think of that famous case right now, when they showed up at the court building and they was talking about the white people was talking about get the nigga out of jail, we finna hang him because he supposed to have touched a white girl, and then they were fighting, and then some shop was supposed to have, that was Black Wall Street, right? That's how Black Wall Street ended, right? It was the little boy supposed to have messed with some girl and stuff like that, and then Black Wall Street, a lot of people had their Second Amendment right. So a lot of black people walked armed to the jailhouse to protect the black men. Shot rang out, somebody said racist, you know what I'm saying? They was outgunned, right? And that's when they brought the military, because they knew they couldn't go up in there with all guns. They came up in there with bombs and this and that, because they would have went in there with guns. A lot of black people had the Second Amendment right, and they would have defended themselves. They would have never killed that many black folks. Because they went up in there with bombs, guess what? They wiped out the whole community. Huh? Black people, because we had Second Amendment rights, they had to kill us with bombs because guns wouldn't do it. I'm telling you.
After all, California was an open carry state. These Americans were exercising their God-given Second Amendment rights.
The Panthers were very good at publicity and not particularly good at protecting black communities.
Who is that right now? Black Lives Matter. Good at publicity, but not good at protecting the community. Good at publicity, though. They get on TV. They'll do some marching. They'll do some fundraising. But as far as protecting the black community, no. It's always the groups you don't hear about that's protecting the black community, right? It's not Black Lives Matter. It wasn't the Panthers.
Militia was essential for quelling slave revolts, for keeping the enslaved under rule.
Right? So you have a militia that was formed to keep slaves under rule, right? So they can't overthrow the government. So they can't go after the government, right? So they can't, if the government's laws are too strict or their rights are taken away, they can't go after the government because it's a militia formed for their militia, right? So you have a right to form a militia, but we also have a right to form a militia to protect the government. It's under state law. Every state was different. Virginia had the one of the strictest.
And the street patrols that they were engaged in were operations to protect their communities from the police and other government forces that had been targeting, abusing, and killing black people.
Right? From the police and other government forces. Right? That's who you protect yourself from, black folks. Remember in all these marches, right? Watch what this black man say, right? I don't have to agree with Black Lives Matter, the movement, to agree with the truth, right? Now, while these Black Lives Matter protesters out here protesting, talking about kill the police and doing all this whole shit, right? It was people out there who was exercising their Second Amendment right, protecting them same black folks that was calling them police racists and killers and Nazis.
When I talk to people in the African American community, I hear they want protection. There were some guys that came around there and were shooting protesters, and the protesters were saying that they were yelling some racial slurs.
The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense calls upon the American people in general and the black people in particular to take full note of the racist California legislature, which is now considering legislation aimed at keeping the black people disarmed and powerless at the very same time that racist police agencies throughout the country are intensifying the terror, brutality, murder, and repression of black people.
Huh? At the time when it's supposed to be racism, like right now, at the time when white supremacy is supposed to be the number one issue in America, the number one fucking issue in America, they want to take your guns. Huh? Think about it. They say white supremacy is the biggest threat to democracy. The democracy is the biggest threat to our national security. It's the biggest problem in America. And after all that, you want to take our guns to defend ourselves against the white supremacists, which is the biggest threat in America? They don't have to follow the law. They're not the police. They don't work for the government. Right? So you don't want us to defend ourselves against the biggest threat in America. Do that even make sense?
That battle in Virginia over ratification led James Madison, who was the architect of the Constitution, to know that he had to have a Bill of Rights that would quell that dissent.
California lawmakers were terrified. Some reportedly hid under their desks.
Huh? Ain't that what AOC done? Hid under their desk? Oh, the terrorists is coming. Oh, the Nazis are coming. I'm finna hide up under my desk. I was so terrified. Huh? Ain't that what AOC done? The same thing these Californians done in the Capitol building.
The entire establishment, including the gun lobby, denounced these armed black people.
That would mean that there wouldn't be a movement to have a new constitutional convention.
And the bill, which became known as the Panther Bill, was aimed at taking away what the NRA and the Republicans portrayed as their sacred rights as Americans.
Right? The Republicans, right? That was the old Republican Party. Ain't no damn Donald Trump, right? And that was the NRA, and that was Ronald Reagan, who was funded by the NRA back then, right? NRA was probably racist, probably had some racist leaders back then. We never know. It was a lot of racism going on back then, right? But this bill was aimed in California, right, to disarm black folks from defending themselves. Against who? White folks. You don't need the guns.
And that's what the Bill of Rights was designed to do.
In fact, the Panthers in the Capitol that day were charged with felonies.
FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover today asserted that the Black Panthers represent the greatest internal threat to the nation. Hoover.
What? What did he say? Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? The greatest threat to the nation. All of them was charged with felonies, right? Because what? They went into the Capitol building and they was the greatest threat to the nation. I don't want them to think I'm talking about MAGA, but it kind of sounds like they talking about MAGA or white supremacists. They the biggest threat to the nation. Oh, back then it was niggas. That's why you need to take away the guns, because niggas was the greatest threat to the nation. So now it's white folks is the greatest threat to the nation. Can you make up your motherfucking mind?
In fact, the Panthers in the Capitol that day were charged with felonies.
FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover today asserted that the Black Panthers represent the greatest internal threat to the nation. Hoover said the Panthers have perpetrated numerous assaults on police and have engaged in violent confrontations throughout the country.
What? Do that sound like what's going on right now? It sound the exact same thing. But black people, wake up. The reason why you can get out here and say fuck the police and defund the police and all that and not worried about the police doing something to you, because you have rights, and one of them rights is a Second Amendment right. Black folks, don't you feel a whole lot safer, right? When you out them protesters and you see some of them niggas out there with AR-15 and 9mm and all that shit them white boys have strapped to their chest, don't you feel a whole lot safer from racism and the police when you have people, black people that's following their Second Amendment right and exercising their Second Amendment right to protect you with the same weapons that they trying to ban?
The so-called Panther Bill made one thing abundantly clear. Having armed black revolutionaries patrolling their neighborhoods with weapons was a greater threat than losing the right to openly carry weapons for everyone in California.
Right? And I'm finna tell you the biggest thing came out of that. The biggest mistake came out of that, right? When and I finna tell you what'll happen, right? If they do the same thing, right? That's how gangbanging started. The Crips is community revolution in progress. They started as after the Panther Party, right? To protect the community. Community revolution in progress. The Bloods was formed to do the same thing. They couldn't carry weapons legally, so they started carrying weapons illegally, right? It led to a lot of gang territory, a lot of fights, but that's just how gangs started. Right after this, for people trying to protect their community, Crips was supposed to be protecting their community. The Bloods was too. They neighborhoods. We protecting this neighborhood. Don't nobody come over here hurting our neighborhood. Don't nobody come over. We protecting our neighborhood. It just turned into gangbanging shit because it wasn't controlled. It wasn't mediated right. They could have stopped it. They let it spiral out of control. They let it go from protecting the community, right, to trying to make money out of the community, to destroying the community. Right? It started off as a good thing. So the Black Panther Party. But you see all that shit right now, all that shit turned negative. Crips and Bloods is just a baby of the Panther Party. And what happened when you took the guns and the citizens can't protect themselves from the Crips and the Bloods because they can't openly carry a firearm, right? When they on the street, guess what? They get robbed because they can't openly carry a firearm. When they drive in their car, guess what? They get robbed because they can't openly carry a firearm. The criminals got them. The criminals not worried about a carrying license or a permit. Only the legal citizens are. And they're the ones that was getting assaulted and robbed and beaten and murdered because they couldn't carry a gun legally. If they carry a gun legally, was unpermitted, was not permitted on the streets of California, right? You go to jail. So now you turn a legal citizen into a criminal because he's trying to protect himself in his own community, what the police want to do, from the Crips and the Bloods. Cold setup. That's how they go right now.
Quote, there was an original purpose to the Second Amendment, but it wasn't to keep people safe. It was to preserve white supremacy and slavery. Briefly, Ellie, how do we know that to be the case for sure?
But you've got this really weird outlier about the right to a well-regulated militia.
Yeah, so I'm coming up with that just because I'm reading Patrick Henry and George Mason, who was then governor of Virginia at the founding of the country. This is not my words. This is what those white guys said when they were debating the Second Amendment.
These are what those white guys said when they were debating the Second Amendment, right? And black folks, you always have niggas like this that would try to twist up history. Instead of saying our Second Amendment right was a good thing, or the amendment of the Second Amendment right was a good thing, he's trying to say that it was a negative thing. Right? Instead of us being victims, instead of us being defenders, right? We are victims, according to him, right? Because it's more about the white supremacists having power than the black people having power. See how he twists this?
For the security of the state, which leads to the right to bear arms.
In a not so surprising revelation, the Second Amendment is a racist relic of slavery.
They said that they needed a Second Amendment because they needed the armed, disciplined, that was their word, militia to put down slave revolts.
That was about
the court down slave revolts, right? That's a militia. He's right about that, but he's twisting the story, right? See how you can tell the truth about something, but twist the story to fit a narrative.
A bribe to the South to make them comfortable that the militia would remain under state control.
And they were
the militia will remain under state control, right? Remember, we control the militia, right? And the Democratic Party had to go to court, right? And have to take responsibility for the KKK and other fucking racist parties and shit like that. They lost the shit in court, right? So this militia, right, that was formed by the so-called the Democratic Party was the KKK, and they was regulated. And with Jim Crow laws enforced, they had the right to do shit to black folks. Because guess what? Black folks didn't have no Second Amendment rights. It's just like now, right? We're going to keep black folks on arms, so if you outnumber, guess what? You don't have an equalizer.
And they were worried that under the original Constitution, the federal government had all of the power to raise the militia, right? The Southerners needed the militias to put down slave revolts because, you know, Mendy, it's a little bit difficult to hold people in bondage against their will. So you need...
It's a little difficult to hold bondage against their will, right? So you need guns, right? To overpower the person that you're trying to subjugate, right? Because I'm pretty sure a nigga out of slavery could have handled 2 or 3 white boys sometimes. Not no husky-fed white boys out of Nebraska or one of them racist ass states that have been corn-fed or some shit like that. None of them 3 white boys. I'm talking about 3 white boys out of like Philadelphia or something, or Wisconsin or some shit. No, not Wisconsin. Them some country fed ass white boys too. I'm talking about out of like New Mexico or some shit like that. You feel me? Nowhere out of Texas. Them some country fed ass white boys too. Nowhere down south. Up north. The white boys up north. No white boys down south. Here, take on 3 of them motherfuckers fast. Boom, pop, boom, boom.
You needed some military superiority, and the Second Amendment was there to make sure that the states had the power to raise the militia on their own. So Virginia could raise its own militia to put down slave revolts in Virginia without having to ask Connecticut or Massachusetts whether or not they agreed with that. That's why it's there. That's why the white folks said it was there.
And that's what black people, right? That's what black people exercise. The No Fuck Around Coalition, right? That is a militia. The coalition, that is a militia, right? They got guns. The so-called protect their people, right? Against the same people that you're talking about got guns, right? So the Second Amendment right work both ways. Of course, they want guns so they can overpower the people and subjugate the people. Of course, right? But if the government the only people to have these weapons, guess what? You back at a disadvantage. Because you have no Second Amendment right. You have no equalizer. When you go out there with all the racism and all the KKK and all the Nazis and all the Trump supporters that want to do some harm to you because they racist, guess what? You don't have an equalizer. You don't have nothing to protect yourself. It's them racist sons of bitches who ain't gonna follow no Second Amendment or probably do have their Second Amendment against your ass. I'm gonna put my money on them.
Brief, I won't use my 5 minutes. I'll simply express my shock at what I just heard from Mr. Roy. When he talked about using guns to fight tyranny, he's talking about turning guns on American troops. Turning guns, we ought to be able to shoot American troops. I find that shocking.
I find that shocking. What if the American troops was ordered to shoot you by your government? I will find that shocking that you can't defend yourself. Because look at other countries, right? They don't send the police. They send the fucking military to go raid houses. They send the military to do their dirty work. So if you can't fight the military back, what good is your Second Amendment right? That's what it's used for, stupid. You see how the Democrats say, yeah, you shouldn't be able to fight the government. You want to be able to shoot. No, that's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying. But black folks, I want to give you a little dose of what the Republicans, right, are fighting for Second Amendment rights for your dog ass for, right? Not for this them, but also for your dog ass, right? These are what the Republicans are doing against the Democrats who want to take it away. You shouldn't be able to shoot the military. You shouldn't be able to walk around carrying a loaded gun. You shouldn't have an AR-15. You shouldn't have 6 bullets. Huh? What if it's 7 KKK members out there, motherfucker? You only got 5 bullets. 2 of them, and they got 35 bullets. I'm counting on them.
Thank you, Chairman. Look, the problem with politicians, especially in D.C., is that they tell the American people that we can protect them from harm.
Do you believe that, black folks? Do you believe your government, right, if they were to take away the AR-15s, take away and make the age limit go up to 21, right, do red flag laws, drop the number of bullets you can have in a gun, do you still think your government can protect you? Say they do all that shit. Say the Democrats get all the shit they want. Everything. Are you going to feel safer? Right? Or is you going to feel safer if your husband, right, or your wife, and you go into the mall, have that open carrying permit? The license to carry. Right? Are you going to feel safer? Think about it. The answer is hell to the no. Because you know, and I know, the government cannot protect you. It's impossible.
Protect them from every aspect of evil, from every tragedy. That we're never going to let a bad thing happen again. And the people in this committee say effectively today that they can stop evil.
The deacons, on the other hand, just very silently let it be known if you try to harm people in our community or the people working with us, it's not going to go very well.
That's how you stop evil in your community, with arms. So not the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers walking around saying what they going to do. The Deacons of Arms was meaning what they was going to do. 2 different organizations, right? Just like the Black Lives Matter saying what they're going to do, but you got other organizations actually doing what they do, right? Gun rights has always been one of the biggest rights in black history.
That we must do something. But they've admitted here multiple times by multiple parties that it's all a pretext to ban weapons. If this were about policy, if it really were, we'd be addressing facts, right?
Have an inalienable right.
Right? Now, like I say, when black folks out there with these guns, black people, you have to feel a whole lot safer from white supremacists and the racist police.
To defend ourselves. A gun is just something that I grab every day and bring with me, hoping that nothing would happen. But if it ever had to come to that situation, then at least the option is open.
Huh? If it ever had to come to that situation, at least the option is open. Meaning, right, I don't want to use my gun, but I still have my Second Amendment right. In case something happens, I have the option to defend myself. You want to take away that option?
2% of prosecuted federal criminals have bought their weapons through retail purchases. Less than, or just over 10% of state criminals. About 0.8% of criminals obtained their weapons at a gun show. Crime in San Francisco is facing a recall vote of the DA. Why? Police making arrests and only 8% of crimes reported there. Homicides are up 36%. 2021 arson is up 40% compared to 2019. In San Antonio, crime is skyrocketing. Cops won't even refer to the DA drug crimes because they won't prosecute them. In Chicago, why isn't the U.S. Attorney and the DA there focusing on straw purchases and other crimes to address the 800 plus homicides? Straw purchases are already a crime for people who are prohibited from owning a firearm. Police have been verifiably defunded in Austin to the tune of $150 million.
Right? But you won't let people protect their community. The police is defunded. right? The police can't do their job. The police not doing their job. And you want to take away the guns?
Communities against police officers abusing their power.
Defending yourself against a tyrannical government. I'm all about that.
Well, state lawmakers responded by passing a bill that banned open carry.
Ban open carry in California. This is why we can't open carry in California, because of black folks.
The bill applied to all Californians, but it was meant to blatantly target the Black Panthers.
In fact, this bill resulted in some of the strictest gun control laws anywhere in the United States, all because some black Americans exercised their right to carry loaded weapons.
Huh, black folks? Don't think they just done it to conservatives. Don't think they just doing it to Trump supporters. They also done it to you. They also used you. Because back then, you was the greatest threat to American democracy. You was the greatest national threat. So guess what, black folks? You go into the thing like they done going into the thing? We're going to make a law for you too.
The following year saw the Gun Control Act of 1968, signed by the then President Richard Nixon. The law banned Saturday night specials, which were the cheaply made handguns associated with crime in minority groups.
And what they're trying to ban right now, the AR-15, is with the mass shootings, right? Is hand in hand, go hand in hand with mass shootings. They're trying to ban that. 38 specials back then, AR-15s now. Right? But when the but think about this, right? If I wanted to play devil's advocate, right? If the 38 special was killing folks, right? Was killing folks in communities of color, right? And you had to ban it because they were cheap, why the killing didn't stop? They went to a different gun. The killing didn't stop because you banned the 38 special. They went to a different gun. We're going to ban the AR. We're going to ban the AR-15. We're going to ban the 38 special because black people are using it. We're going to ban the AR-15 because serial mass shooters are using it. Well, it didn't stop the gangbang. It didn't stop the violence in black communities by banning the 38. What makes you think it's going to stop mass shootings by banning the AR-15?
Meaning black communities.
We have 107,000 deaths and skyrocketing from fentanyl pouring across our border. Thousands and thousands of Americans. We have documented homicides by hands and knives more than rifles.
Hands and knives. We're going to ban hands and knives next because hands and knives kill more people than rifles. I was telling my partner that stat the other day. Hands and knives, choking, stabbings, all that shit kill more people, right, than guns, because you don't need a carrying permit for hands. You don't need a carrying permit for for knives. Huh?
I say that again. Hands and knives, documented homicides, are greater than rifles.
Our streets! Our streets! Our streets!
Black, look, you see this right here? You see this picture right here? This is a black man with guns exercising Second Amendment right while you niggas out in the street hollering, whose streets? Our streets. It's because of his Second Amendment right. He has that to protect the black folks. Take away his Second Amendment right, he won't have none of this. This is like an assault rifle to me. Take away his Second Amendment rights, ban the assault weapon, he won't be out here to protect you.
Our streets! Our streets!
I get the strangest looks when I walk around looking like this. I get the strangest looks more from black people than white people.
More from black people than white people. White people know you have a Second Amendment right to bear arms. Black people don't. Black people think a black person like this carrying a gun is crazy. Right? White people see him as he's exercising the Second Amendment right. Democrats see him as a threat. But they didn't see him as a threat when he was protesting Black Lives Matter. They wasn't saying ban no weapons then, but he exercised the Second Amendment right. So I have to agree with him for protecting the people. Even though this is a protest I don't agree with, he has the right to protect his people against racism, against racists, and against the so-called police that's there to harm them or kill them or cause them harm. He has that right.
Now, around that same time, major media outlets were aghast as Malcolm X called on black people to arm themselves and to defend themselves against racist violence.
Huh? Malcolm X, Martin Luther King couldn't get no gun, right? He's talking about the peace shit. Malcolm X say, them motherfuckers come to your house for to kill you. You can't be hollering that peace shit. You can't be hollering, we should overcome. You can't be hollering, I have a dream. You got to holler, I got a gun. I'm strapped. I'm exercising my Second Amendment right to defend myself. That sounds a whole lot better than we will overcome.
We have a cultural rot in this country. Yet this legislation focuses on targeting law-abiding Americans. It would make it at baseline unlawful to obtain a gun for a non-family member, friend, or acquaintance, regardless of their eligibility, like current law requires. Maybe a spouse of a military service member, like my friend from Kentucky mentioned. It would make me a criminal several times over, living as I do today.
And most of the people that's watching this video are criminals 7 times over too, right? You all will become criminals. He will become a criminal. Black folks, it's not, the Democrats are not just taking away conservative rights, they're also taking away your rights. He won't be there to defend you.
Black people, all of a sudden you see pride just swell up in their chest when they see me walk around like this, like, shit, yes, he gets it.
You see that? Black people feel safe when niggas around there exercising their Second Amendment right. Black people feel safe. It's a nigga around here with a gun. If any police come around here tripping, he has our back. If any white supremacists come over here tripping, he has our back. They're not going to come over here if they know we are protected. If we are exercising our Second Amendment right, they have a little less opportunity to leave this motherfucker alive. Huh? Ain't nobody gonna come messing with this protest because it's black people there exercising they Second Amendment right. You damn right. This is gonna be a peaceful protest, huh? It's gonna be peaceful because ain't nobody gonna come there fuck with nobody who exercises their Second Amendment right. They know better. Take away their rights. Any nutcase with a ghost gun or gun made up or some shit like that can come and eliminate this whole crowd.
He knows that he has those rights too.
For example, here I've got in this room actually a 20 gauge single shot shotgun and a 22 lever action. I've got these right here. And I have them sitting here in the room out, exposed. Why? So I can go kill a snake. So I can go kill a coyote. So I can go do what I need to do, kill things, because that's what guns are for.
Guns are for to kill things, right? And protect things, right? Some people use them to kill, some people use them to hunt, right? But other people use them, right? Some people live with wild animals and stuff like that attack their livestock and attack their property and stuff like that, right? You mean to tell me they can't protect themselves? They can protect their property? They can protect their animals? They can protect their kids? I done saw a video with bears in people's houses and shit. You mean to tell me you want to tase the bear? I don't think the bear going to leave with a 5-shot 38, but that motherfucker leave with an AR-15.
To take away your ability to purchase handguns. They're using the magazine ban to do it.
I've got both of those guns and I've had them since I was 9 years old. And you know what? My children who are under the age of 18, they know that those guns are to be used only to go kill a snake.
Last year in 2021, the Glock 19 was the highest sold handgun in the United States. It comes with a 15-round magazine. That gun would be banned.
To go kill a coyote, to go protect their dog if it's being chased down or tracked down. That's why we have guns.
Right here in front of me, I have a Sig Sauer P226. Comes with a 21-round magazine. This gun would be banned. Here's a 12-round magazine. This magazine would be banned under this current bill. It doesn't fit because this gun was made for a 21-round magazine.
Democrats don't know anything about guns, right? They don't know the technology. They don't know the proper use of a gun, right? They know nothing about guns. They only want to take them. They only want to be the ones with guns, not you.
This gun would be banned.
And you're saying if I leave my 20 gauge or 22 sitting out, and I have a 12-year-old son, and I don't have that locked up, oh gosh, sorry, we got a coyote. Let me go get the key to go unlock it. That is straight up bullshit, quote Mr. Cicilline. That's what it is. And that's what you're doing to the American people.
You see, when black people, you run in the streets talking about fuck the police and all this old shit, they're protected by people exercising their Second Amendment right. You niggas better learn.
I feel like a lot of people, when they look at guns, they look at it from a victim's mentality.
What's creating tensions between communities and the police is the fact that police have a really difficult time in communities where they know guns are everywhere.
If you really got the positive of that, right? When the guns are everywhere, when the police know you have your Second Amendment right in them certain states, the police are a little bit more kinder, a little bit more gentler, right? It's a lot of more people walk away from certain traffic stops, right? When people have the right to exercise their Second Amendment right? But when you don't have the right to exercise your Second Amendment right and you come against one of them racist officers, guess what? The one of them racist officers, the Black Lives Matter be talking about, that be killing people every day, guess what? You have no Second Amendment right. He do anything he fucking want to. Let him take away your Second Amendment right you want to, black folks. Black Lives Matter. Remember, your safety depends on it.
In areas where the police, whether it be federal, state, or city, have proven their inability or their unwillingness to defend Negroes.
Or protect Negroes. It was defend Negroes then. Now it's to protect Negroes. You can't protect them. You can't protect Negroes now. It's not because they won't. It's because they can't. It's in a state, I forgot, right? In the city right now, they funding is so low and they budget is so low and the gas is so high, they handling disputes over the phone. Can you imagine that? Put your husband on the phone. Hey, man, we ain't got time to come down there. Just stop hitting her, man. Stop hitting her, please. Can y'all just get along? We ain't got the gas to come down there. We got to handle this dispute over the phone. Yeah, so just stop whooping her ass for us. If you call us again, we're going to have to come down there. Huh? It's you again. We just told, oh, my God. You know what? We got one stop to make. Right, because this other nigga that's called us 3 times, you know what I'm saying, and said his wife is whooping his ass, right? So after we pick her up, we're going to come down there and get your ass. Be at home when we get there, because we ain't got no gas money to be looking for your ass. Be at home when we get there. And do you got some weed? You ain't got no weed? You ain't got no weed? Okay, but just be at home when we get there. You ain't got no weed. You really going to jail.
The lives and the property of Negroes, then it's only intelligent and it's only right that Negroes protect themselves, and I have encouraged them to buy a rifle and a shotgun, which according to the Constitution is legal.
According to the Constitution, it's legal. Martin Luther King say, don't buy none of them motherfuckers. Go out there and hug arms and march. Malcolm X say, nigga, defend yourself. All these racist people and all this, the police ain't gonna do it. Just like now, the police ain't gonna do it. You gotta defend yourself. But if they take away your Second Amendment rights, black folks, guess what? You can't defend yourself. You better wake up, niggas.
Look at it as what can a gun do to me, not versus what can a gun do for me.
For what purpose? So that at any time, anyone makes any effort whatsoever to brutalize them or attack them or endanger them, they should have something to defend themselves.
Huh? It's not what a gun can do to me, it's what a gun can do for me. You heard the dude? And Malcolm X say they should have the ability to defend themselves. If somebody try to attack you, black folks, they take away your Second Amendment right, guess what? That option is gone.
You're at a protest that is talking about the inequalities in the justice system and police brutality, and then you mentally have wired yourself to believe that only the cops should have the gun to protect you and other people. And I just thought that was really ironic.
Under this bill.
Huh? Really ironic that the police should be the only ones to protect the community with the guns. Right? You had a march against the police, against rights. You're talking about we're marching for rights, and you got a nigga out there with an AR-15. You got niggas out there strapped like white boys in the police, but you want to sit up there and talk about equal rights. Think about it, black folks. You got niggas out there with weapons, and you still talking about equal rights. We want rights. What rights? You have them all. You have the ability to go out there and get your ass an AR-15 too, a handgun, a 9mm. You have all that ability to exercise your right to not become a victim of a white supremacist, of a racist cop that's killing people every day. You don't want to become one of the victims to the greatest threat in America, according to the Democrats. Never mind the niggas that's shooting on the corner. Never mind the niggas shooting through windows. Never mind the niggas that's in the hood shooting up cars. Never mind the niggas that's robbing when you go to the stores. Never mind the niggas that knock you upside the head, hitting you, making you hit the concrete, and you die in the hospital later. Never mind them niggas. Right? We're not worried about the niggas that's carjacking you, right? We're not worried about the niggas waiting for you when you come out the grocery store. We're not worried about the niggas waiting for you at the ATM, right? We're not worried about the niggas waiting for you at the light. We're not worried. Don't carry a gun for them. Carry a gun for the white supremacists. I'm just going on what the Democrats say. We don't need to carry on based on their theories and their rhetoric, right? You don't need to worry about the niggas on the street, because if they get the ghost guns, right, off the street, evidently violence is going to go down, right? If they stop the gun manufacturers putting serial numbers on the guns and shit, like the killing's going to go down as soon as the NRA start putting serial numbers on sold weapons and start registering them, right? The homicides finna go down. So since you ain't got to worry about black niggas in the hood or niggas shooting people for no reason, all you got to do now is worry about the white supremacists and how you going to defend yourself against a white supremacist. The biggest threat in America. And I ain't never saw one of them.
Here's a Sig Sauer 320. It takes a 20-round magazine. Here's a 12-round magazine that would be banned. It doesn't fit because it would be banned. This gun would be banned under this bill.
Look, now you've got part of the provision that says you're going to set the age. We've already had a robust debate about that. I got a 45 when I was 18 years old. I guess I somehow managed to get through. The fact here is this is really about the left's culture war against gun owning and supporting Americans. That's what it's about.
Here's a gun I carry every single day to protect myself, my family, my wife, my home. This is a XL Sig Sauer P365. Comes with a 15-round magazine. Here's a 7-round magazine, which would be less than what would be lawful under this bill if this bill were to become law. It doesn't fit. So this gun would be banned.
I hope the gun is not loaded.
I'm at my house. I can do whatever I want with my guns.
You got to love Republicans. You got to love their attitude. You got to love their attitude. You see how Republican manner is and how Democrats' manners are? Always on the defensive, always a victim. I like being a Republican. It's not being aggressive. It's just being right and confident. You know what I'm saying? And bold. And speaking your fucking mind. And understanding your rights and your Constitution and fighting for them and not letting nobody take them away and tell you what your Constitution is and your rights are. Because you already know them. I hope it's not loaded. I'm in my house. I can do what the fuck I want to do. Fuck you.
And it's about refusing to acknowledge the fundamental reason and the purpose for the Second Amendment. This is not specifically about hunting or self-defense, but even defense against tyranny.
Here's a point of order.
Is exactly what the Democrats want to do. Now let's just take the policy objectives that they're trying to accomplish and look at the municipalities that have actually passed it. Maryland, Washington, D.C., Cook County, Illinois, all have some of the strictest gun country laws in the country, including limiting magazines to only 10 rounds.
I don't accept the term weapon of war regarding the AR-15. It's not. It's used for hunting primarily. It's the most popular rifle. But even if it were, depriving the American people of the weapon, the stated goal of most or all committee Democrats today, and the target of magazines greater than 10 in this very bill to do so.
I want to, black people, when he say Americans, taking away Americans' guns, do you think he just talking about white people? Huh? He didn't say taking away white supremacist guns. He didn't say taking away conservative guns or liberal guns. He said American. That includes you. Last time I checked, you may not like American, but your ass is American. So when you say you're talking about taking guns away from Americans, that mean you. Sergeant Mo is black as a motherfucker. If the law passed, he gonna be a criminal. So when dude say Americans, he talking about people like Sergeant Mo, one of the blackest niggas on the planet. You feel me? So Sergeant Mo become one of the blackest criminals in the world because you sons of bitches want to ban Americans' guns. He's talking about all Americans, not just white folks. He's not talking about just like Tom or Randy, right? He's not just talking about them. He's talking about people like Sergeant Mo.
Then what are the citizens supposed to do if the government is tyrannically trampling their rights?
Right? What is you supposed to do if the government is trampling your rights? Can you have these protests right here and feel safe? When niggas not armed? See this person armed right here? They got niggas all in the crowd armed protecting black folks and making sure these black folks exercise their Second Amendment right. Huh? Think about this. They're making sure these black folks have a voice. Which last time I checked, the government supposed to let you have. Which is your First Amendment right. Take away Second Amendment rights and First Amendment rights if you want to. You won't have a voice and you won't have these guns. But you can have a First Amendment right now, right now, as long as you do it in front of a judge house. Oh, you can have that right.
But yet, it's nothing for a white guy to walk down the street with his rifle on his back, and everything's just fine. NRA, Second Amendment, this, that, and the other. But when a black person does it, we're a thug, we're an animal. We're about to go stick up a store or something.
And who says that? The Democrats. Don't the Republicans say that? They want you to have your Second Amendment right. It's the Democrats are saying that shit. The Democrats like, you motherfuckers don't deserve no guns, right? They want to take away all guns. They think you as thugs and white supremacists is mass shooters. And white people is mass shooters. Huh? Because all of them is inherently racist. If they have a certain ideology. So all you niggas is thugs and all white people is mass shooters. That's how they separate it. That's how they want to take away your gun right. We want these niggas having guns because look what happened last time. The Black Panthers, the so-called thugs had guns. They went up in here and they done some revolution with the militia. So now we got to ban guns for all Californians. And that lost their host today. Huh? People in California, especially niggas, don't even know it's because the Black Panther parties, right? And black folks, not only black folks that carry guns, is the reason why we can't carry guns openly in California today. Huh? You can have it. You can have it in your. You can have it in your car, but you just can't have it on you. Think about it. So if somebody come and rob you, you got to go to your trunk, get the gun, put the clip in, come back in your car, and then defend yourself. You can't openly carry it. It's not It's not one of them. Have it in your glove department. Where your gun at? It got to be in your glove department or in your trunk. Thanks a lot. I'm already dead, and they got my gun and my car.
But when you see these animals and thugs that they like to call us, well armed, well organized, yeah, it makes you stop and think.
Huh? When you see niggas well armed and well organized, it make you stop and think. Did you hear what he said? I may not agree with his policies or his ideology or his membership to Black Lives Matter, but I have to agree with that. You see a bunch of niggas organized with guns and rights. How scary is that for Democrats? How scary is that for Democrats? To see organized black men inside of their community. Not no Crips, not no blood. I'm talking about legal armed men in their neighborhoods, patrolling their neighborhoods. Making sure there's no crime, making sure no women get raped. Right? Making sure no kids get shot. Make sure no fentanyl getting sold. Make sure there's no child trafficking. Make sure nobody getting held for being bribed or being racketeered or something like that, right? Imagine if you had them in your community. How much safer would the communities be then? Right? You think if people walking around guarding the neighborhood for real, you have people pushing people on the trains, knocking old people out, robbing the shit out of elders, brutally beating them? Nah. And some of the highest crime, like this dude explaining right now, and the other dude explaining, some of the states and the cities with the highest with the toughest gun laws have the most crimes. How is that happening? The strictest gun laws. Right? Remember, California had had gun laws about no carrying permit since the 70s, the 60s? And we were the murder capital for years. 3,000 murders, 2,900 murders. With the toughest gun laws in America, right? Toughest background check, toughest penalties, right? And homicide still went up. Bans on all kind of shit. It didn't stop the killing. Huh? The only thing the no permit thing done in California is made people become victims.
By comparison, in Florida, there are significantly less restrictions and no limits on magazine size in the state of Florida.
Would the gentleman yield for a question?
Are these laws effective?
Would the gentleman yield for a question?
Hell no, he's not answering the question.
Jurisdictions that have magazine bans.
Would the gentleman yield for a question?
Hell no, I'm not yielding for no question because you ain't finna say shit.
What are we supposed to do? What should Americans do if the government, in conjunction with, say, international organizations, attempt to lock us in apartment buildings like they do in China?
Huh?
And maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer.
Right? Ask China about Second Amendment rights. Ask China about gun rights. Ask China about when the government want to lock your ass in a building and you have no rights, can they do it? Right? Ask China, right? How is their government treating them? Right? Do they feel safe? Not from people, but from their government. Right? And that a bitch, they feel safe from their people because of how they control. But they don't feel safe from their government. The government will lock their ass down anytime. And they have no say so. Look how many times they've done it. They locked them down, beat the shit out of their dogs, beat them, put them in a camp. They have no rights over there. The government do what the hell they want to. Anytime they want to. Lock them down, put them in a camp. Kidnap them. Lock them they lock you in your own house and don't feed you. There's people running around saying, please feed me. Millionaires being locked in a fucking house. Because the government done what the fuck they want to do. They can't do that up in here because guess what? You have Second Amendment rights.
To stamp out COVID. What did the American people do? In history, this is replete with examples. The Soviet Union established gun control, and from 1929 to 1953, They massacred 20 million people. Turkey, the Armenians, 1.5 million people. We know about Germany and gun control and what it meant for Jews and in that part of the world in Germany.
If you live in Tampa, Florida, near my district, or in Orange County, where Orlando is located, in 2021, you were roughly 3 times less likely to be murdered here in Florida, in Orange County, or in Tampa than in Chicago or DC, where they both have magazine bans. And you are a whopping 5 times less likely to be murdered than in Baltimore, Maryland, than in Tampa, Florida, or Orange County.
And Austria, Poland, and throughout Europe. We have China establishing gun control in 1935, and another 20 million people were massacred. Evil is evil.
Yeah, these guns aren't just for the racists, the KKK, the Nazis, and everything else. These are also for those rogue police officers, those ones that like to, brutalize us and harm us and get away with it.
Even though he got a fucked up imagination, he still have the right to bear arms. He still have a Second Amendment right to believe what the fuck he want to and defend his community against all. Right? Against all. Take away the right if he want to. Black people, you better wake up.
No, we're not doing that anymore.
Additionally, the state of West Virginia is instructive on this point. West Virginia has some of the most gun-friendly laws in the country, including permitless carry, no magazine restrictions. For purposes of comparing apples to apples, West Virginia also faces some struggles and has poverty levels comparable to nearby Baltimore and Washington, D.C. Yet someone is 9 times less likely to be murdered in West Virginia than in Baltimore, and approximately 5 times less than in D.C., according to the most recent numbers in those jurisdictions.
With tough gun laws. Think about it. It's not the gun laws, it's the people. Baltimore got different people than Wisconsin. Even though crime is just as high, it got different people, but you can be murdered at a higher rate, 9 times higher rate in Baltimore than you can in Wisconsin, because guess what? It's the people, not the property. It's not the guns.
And what do we know about the Uvalde shooter? It was a psychotic, evil 18-year-old who talked about raping women, killing defenseless animals, and was willing to gun down 4th graders.
These anti-gun cities, particularly ones with magazine bans, have some of the highest crime rates in the country, and they are growing worse. These laws do nothing to stop crime, and no one here thinks they will actually stop mass shootings. This is a push to take away your right to carry whatever firearm you please to defend yourself.
Black folks, do you hear that? You're not talking about white folks only. To defend yourself, like the black dudes say, it's not just for the Nazis. It's not just for the white supremacists. It's for the rogue police officers, right? It's for the people that come over here and try to take over government people, right? Whoever. It's for them too, right? So know your constitutional right. Know why you got your Second Amendment right. Know what's important. Know why why white people wasn't able to enslave you back in the days. Know why we wasn't getting murdered and tortured at more of a rate than we was back in the days. Learn about the people that defended themselves with their Second Amendment right against people that tried to kill them or hang them or do something to their family or something like that. Learn about the time that black people exercised their Second Amendment right. It's all throughout history. Even Harriet Tubman had a fucking gun. It's all throughout history on how black people defended themselves and protected themselves with fucking guns against the KKK, against the racism, against the Nazis, right? Against now niggas who try to shoot up parties, against drug addicts, against gang members, right? Nowadays it's different, right? But it's plenty of times where I got a video that I'm doing when plenty of times when women, right? I'm thinking about doing this video when women have to use self-defense, right? They be an equalizer to men that was beating on them and doing all kind of crazy shit to them, and they had to get an equalizer. Guess what? That gun was an equalizer. And you want to take that away from women when they got an abusive husband? When you want to take that a Second Amendment right away from women when she doesn't have the strength of a man? When all these women out here getting sexually assaulted, kidnapped, abused mentally, physically, sexually, you want to take that away? Her only chance to be equalizer to a man? There's been plenty of opportunities where it was people beating the shit out of people's mama, and the kid used his Second Amendment right. He even had one, but he got the gun and shot the father. It's been all kind of cases like that. It's all kind of bad cases, but it's bad cases in everything you do. But you can't blame the bad case on all the good things that happen. Fuck all the self-defense that people use a Second Amendment right in a good way. Let's talk about how people use guns in a bad way. That way we can take away their Second Amendment right. Don't focus on the good, but blow up the bad.
We have a cultural rot in this country. We're stripping the dignity of work, the role of fathers in raising sons, the abuse of drugs, the missing community to stop a boy from being MIA from school, not working while sitting around playing Call of Duty and abusing animals.
Think about that. How many kids in America today is not working, not going to school, sitting at home, on drugs, playing Call of Duty? Right? How many kids? We don't encourage our kids to work. We don't encourage our kids to get educated. We don't encourage our kids to raise families. We don't encourage our kids to be patriots anymore. We're teaching them get free shit. Sit on your ass. Everything is equal. You don't need to work hard to gain. You don't need to be ambitious. We'll take care of you. Sit on your ass and play video games all day, shooting people on your video games, on all kind of pills and alcohol and weed and chemicals that fuck up your head, cocaine and crystal meth. And while you at it, take these fentanyl pills. Bye-bye. Or you at a place when you done so many drugs, you're so depressed, you know what I'm saying, because you don't have nothing going on in life. You're tired of sitting in the house playing video games, living with your parents. You ain't got nowhere to go. You ain't got no future. You ain't got no motivation. Fuck it. Why not end it all? Some people kill other people and commit suicide. Some people just commit suicide. Because you never know what go. The suicides don't make the news when people get depressed and want to do shit to themselves because they've been sitting in the house not doing anything and find out they ain't got no future and they done got too late, or they feel they done got too late and everything is overbearing. Their parents complaining about them not being doing nothing. They need to step up. They ain't got the ambition or the motivation. Right? They feel everything should be handed to them because society say they should be handed everything. They shouldn't have to work. So why can't I live in my mama's house and play video games and take these pills and these drugs all my life? Society don't shine down on that no more. They don't look down. They used to look down on people sitting in the house not doing it, not going to school and not working. They don't shine down on that no more. It's regular. You have a job as a protester. Protesting that people should stay at home and rich people should pay more for you to stay at home. You shouldn't have to do more. They said, you shouldn't have to do more. Huh? They should do more. You should do less.
So I hope our colleagues in the Senate are paying attention. A magazine ban will not allow you to carry these type of handguns because they don't have the capacity to take such a small magazine. I yield back.
In order to seek the American people, I'll tell American people a lie, that the government will protect them. Half of this committee is willing to take away a citizen's God-given right to protect himself or herself from harm, and importantly, from the very tyranny being applied to them to deny that right. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I recognize myself.
So even though almost anyone can apply for a gun permit today, systematic racial bias in the US means that gun control remains a divisive issue.
And amongst blacks. I just want to leave that in your head for tonight, black folks, about gun rights, about Second Amendment rights, about your rights, about what has kept us from being oppressed, but what has kept us from being beaten and put back into slavery, and was protected us from these white supremacists, the real white supremacists, not none of these motherfuckers they say today. I'm talking about the people that was burning people, hanging people, have little dolls of niggas hanging on ropes, you know what I'm saying, shit like that. Openly racist It protects us against some people. It protects us from the KKK coming down there in some instances killing our whole fucking family. Because they done that when people didn't have their Second Amendment right. They knew it too. We gonna strip you niggas of your Second Amendment right because we know you ain't got no guns in the house. We can come and do any fucking thing we want to. Anything we want to your house, and you can't do shit about it. You can't shoot a nigga out your window. You ain't got a gun. It's 5 of us and you, your wife, and your kids. But if the nigga had guns up and they was shooting through the window, guess what? It'd be a different story. Because he's in and they out. Come, baby, grab that gun. You get this window, I get this window. We gotta protect our fucking kids. We can't let these people come in the house. They think we ain't strapped. Some black people come, I'm pretty sure you saw those movies when some black people come in the porch and shoot one and shot. Bam! I got a gun. Huh? Pull guns on white folks like, I'll shoot you dead. And white people like, yeah, this bitch is crazy. I'll be back, nigger. I'll be back. I ain't gonna come back right now. You got that gun and you look real serious. You'll blow my head off. And you know the consequences if you blow my head off, right? They still gonna come back and burn this motherfucker down. But I still know the consequences if you burn my head off. I ain't gonna be able to see it. So I'm leaving back right now, nigga. But I will be back. I guarantee it. Right? So black people, know your history. Don't let these Democrats fool you about your history. Don't let these Democrats subjugate you and use these conservatives and all these mass shooters, right, to take away your guns. Because it's going to fuck up a lot of people. It's going to fuck up a lot of people, right? That's my show for tonight. I want to thank y'all for donating, to people who donated to the show. If you want to donate, you don't have to just do it here. You can also go to my Cash App and my PayPal. Like I say, I will be putting up a number. I mean, in my time slot. I mean, when I on my post, right? When I put my post up, right, my little Cash App, whatever, right? You put what time you would like me to do a show on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Like what time? Pacific time only. And I'm going to try to set up shows for them times only and shoot skits in the middle of them other days, right? So if it's 2 o'clock every day, 3 o'clock every day, every week, whatever days I said, let me know. Pacific time, not your time, Pacific time. You know what I'm saying? My time. So wherever you at, calculate wherever I'm at or Google what time LA, how many hours of back or forth you ever, the hell you is, and then that time. I don't know where the hell you at. All right? I'll holler at y'all next time on the video. I'm out this bitch.